Welcome to the weekend. This is actually a One Up Club presentation. Kind of spur of the moment, just decided to jump on. Just so you know, my name is Brian, and that's pretty much a given. I'm going to be Brian every single time I log on. But just so you know, kind of a lot of chaos going on in my life right now. But I'm trying to get back into the podcasting thing and just decided to have a brief little conversation with everybody today. Kind of get back into sort of a regular swing, I guess. For those of you who do know and those of you who don't, you'll see that I actually had a major event happen here this week in the passing of one of my best friends and my brother-in-law, Chris. He had a 7-year battle with skin cancer that just continuously developed into things that they couldn't control. And so it's been a very, very difficult time here in our household. Pretty much everything that I had to say about that, I pretty much tried to say on Facebook. When you got a friend of 30 plus years who passes away, at some point he actually became 22 years ago at this point, my brother-in-law, just kind of going through all of that period of life. I mean, it's over 3/4 of my life, basically, that I had my friend with me. First in school, then after school, and then to all the family functions, and you realize that you're going to miss that person just so much. And just thinking about my sister and her kids and how that's all going to play out, and not knowing, and just knowing that all you can do is be there for each of them, and it's trying. It hurts a lot. And it's going to hurt a lot for a while. And I just kind of accept that as part of the grieving processes. And I guess to share with anybody who is listening that didn't see my Facebook post because you don't follow me or whatever, which I'm not one of the people that follows all kinds of people. And it took me a long time to actually say, okay, well, hey, it's time to give my feelings. And a lot of people just kind of bury themselves by literally just overwhelming everybody with their thoughts on social media, and typically I don't do that. But in this particular situation, I think it's important to know that the amount of grief that you actually do feel is literally proportional to the amount of joy that you had from the person that you lost. So I'm going to be feeling it for quite a while. A lot of people are afraid of dying, and I kind of look at it the opposite way. I'm not so much afraid of dying as I'm afraid of the incredible sense of loss that I would leave somebody else with, because I know how that impacts me. It's really tough to kind of go in there and just say, oh yeah, it would suck to lose somebody, and you always say, hey, yeah, it would suck, but you never really know what it's going to do and how it's going to feel until it actually happens. And I can tell you that each of my friends, Randy, Chris, Eric, Christian, all of us, we broke down. It did not go well, and yet it went appropriately. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to say that that's something that's been going on in the past 2 weeks, and it kind of sucks, and it's one of the reasons why I want to get back into doing this sort of thing, because it'll help kind of keep my mind and build some regularity and give myself something to do, besides just kind of sit around and waste time and really kind of just fall into the trap of inactivity. Because if you focus too much on negative stuff, then that's when you're going to end up having some massive issues with yourself. So I know it's a downer. It's a downer. It is. I know. I get it. So we're going to move on from that. I just felt the need to kind of address it because, I mean, it's tough, and I know it impacts me. So that's one of the things we're going to fight through here today as I go and talk to you here today about some of the stuff that's going on, because it's kind of a busy day. Some of the things that popped up, especially concerning the Microsoft and Activision deal with the UK's CMA. Basically, what we ended up finding out today is that Microsoft signed a deal with Ubisoft to where once the deal goes through, theoretically, Ubisoft is going to take over all basic streaming rights for cloud-type gaming with the Activision and Blizzard games. And then immediately following that, the CMA basically threw out the first initial case for the acquisition. The initial reaction, I think, for everybody who saw it was kind of like, what the fuck are they doing? Because in all honesty, the timing of it is just kind of weird. And I think that my initial thing was, I was like, what is this? Is this some sort of a joke? And that's one of the things I told Obi-Wan right off the bat, was, hey, this has got to be some sort of joke. I don't understand what the hell is going on. Like, this is some sort of a Monty Python skit. Monty Python and the CMA, because none of it made sense. But, I mean, given the fact that everything like that, the whole process is so legally complicated that nobody really can understand exactly what's going on. As you actually followed some of the people online throughout the day, and they kind of explained some of the stuff that was actually going on, you find that, in fact, it does kind of make sense. The deal is altered. They kept the original deal in place that was actually supported by the EU, that was struck down, or not struck down, but the FTC's case against it was struck down. But it's the same deal. Everything is the same, with the exception of the cloud gaming being basically having the rights to that sold to Ubisoft for a 15-year period. There's a lot of details in that that are kind of weird, kind of odd, I guess, including actually going through and after the 15-year period, basically every game that Activision makes, Blizzard makes, in the next 15 years following the activation of that deal, Ubisoft will have the rights to cloud streaming those games. And the thing is, one of the things it says it's in perpetuity. So there's been some confusion that you've seen online, and the reason for that is that, well, 15 years isn't in perpetuity. In perpetuity is forever. But what it basically is saying that the games that are made in that 15-year period, Ubisoft has the right to. It's really not that complicated, but some people online, you know how they are, they're overreacting. Everybody thinks that anything that happens is just evidence that they were right, because that's the most important thing in the world, is to be the right one. Which is an attitude I don't understand. I mean, reality is real. Your feelings aren't. You don't have to be right all the time. It's 100% okay to say, okay, well, this is happening now. Okay, now we've changed direction. I have a different understanding. What is wrong with that? Like, people just don't get it. But this entire deal has been a showcase for that with the console warriors. Just look at how insane people are acting. Because it's bad, it's hideous. Some of the behaviors that are taking place, it makes you literally want to just stop participating in any conversations outside of, like, your immediate circle of friends and whatnot. That being said, one of the things that I kind of learned as I was looking through and saying, what if I was wrong? What if my initial reaction was wrong? Is seeing sort of some of the explanations coming out, and they're saying that basically all that's actually happening by the CMA actually throwing that initial case out is they're saying this is now irrelevant. And so they will be able to take their basic findings and apply them to the new deal, but they're looking at the case now, not at the old case, but as this new case with the Ubisoft transaction. It's a very big difference between, they've just thrown that out, which everybody, especially in the face of Starfield, seems to want to kind of jump in their bandwagon, and everybody's locking down, and it's kind of idiotic. I mean, I don't think there's any other word for it. It's idiotic. People are being stupid. And it's their prerogative, I guess, to be stupid. And it's our prerogative as to whether or not to actually engage it. So, some of the other questions that I saw pop up, and I actually did respond to one person who was talking about it, which I had been very careful not to engage too many people with different things, because online I just don't like the overreaction. But one of the things I saw pop up is somebody was concerned about the fact that what happens if Ubisoft, after signing this deal, is themselves acquired? And I think that's kind of an interesting question, because, I mean, we seem to be in one of those stages in the video game industry where acquisition is everything, where everybody seems to be the target of being acquired by some bigger entity, as everything sort of consolidates into 3, 4 different camps. So I think it brings up an interesting question. And whenever they said that, the response that I had was basically kind of along the lines of, anytime there's a business transaction, it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's a contract involved. And anytime that contract is involved, it's going to cover so many contingencies. It's not a one-page contract. These companies that are spending billions of dollars, millions of dollars in this case, aren't going into it like it's a garage sale and just handing over the cash and saying, okay, thank you, with no details actually ironed out. Literally everything that happens is written down. There are so many different contingencies that are put forth in these contracts to actually guarantee and protect every party involved. So people want to have the fear of, we're throwing some random hypothetical. If it's a random hypothetical, it's fun to talk about. So I'm not going to deny that. I mean, it engaged me. I got my brain juices flowing. But it literally will be covered in that contract. And in the likeness that I kind of put forth for it is like in the hockey world, professional sports, they have limited no-trade clauses and stuff like that, to where if there is a transaction that goes forth, then the clause that's in that player's contract says they have a limited number of teams that they will allow a trade to go down and actually be traded to, and they have a longer list of teams that they won't. And if there's a deal in place and that person changes their mind, they have the freedom to do that. But there has to be a 3-party involvement, to where it's the original team entity, the person affected by it, and the new person or entity. And so it's kind of like that. Whenever you're actually going through and you're saying, okay, well, I mean, we're going to do this, and we're going to make this acquisition. If Ubisoft were to sell, they would literally have to get, chances are, 99% sure, they would have to get Microsoft permission, or that portion of that acquisition would not be included. That would revert back to Microsoft. Because Microsoft is not a dumb company. They know how to protect their own assets, just as well as almost any other company pretty much does. But when you got teams of lawyers like I'm sure Microsoft does, they know exactly what they're doing in this acquisition business. They're not going to do anything dumb at this point, even though they seem to be being pressured into a lot of different things. just to try to get approval. There was actually some talk about the EU looking back into the case. One of the patent lawyers that I follow, and I can't think of his name right now, so I'll feel horrible about it. I'm just kind of winging it tonight. But he had said about the EU can look at it all they want, but they already gave approval. The only thing that they can really look at, I guess, is that the initial concerns that they had were not impacted in any way. So according to sources on the internet and all these other people that are out there, whether it's spokespersons or whatever, according to all these people, this is basically an addendum. It doesn't change the meat and potatoes of the contract, the purchase agreement. So the EU will likely find absolutely nothing, and everything will just continue. Even after all this time, though, I would like to say that I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't. What's happening is it's a big deal in one sense. I don't really have a horse in the race because I'm not a Call of Duty guy. I occasionally play Overwatch with my son. It's not my thing. It's just not. There's not really anything from Activision that I've ever been interested in since Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. So it's not one of those things where I get super excited about one thing or the other. The only interest I really have is that I am primarily an Xbox gamer. However, the only aspect that I look at it as being a positive is the income ensures that Xbox will still be around. And to me, that matters. You don't want to see anything collapse, like the industry and as a whole collapse, because you only get like 2 players in the game anymore. I would love it if a 4th entity came in. I was kind of happy and excited about things like Oculus and stuff like that. I can't even remember, Stadia? Something like that, that use the Android system. Things like that, like, they excite me because you want more options. You want to see quality out there. And the more people you have in the game, then it's a balance. You either want a lot of people that are working hard to improve things, but not so many people that they're going to water their products down. So who knows? I mean, so like I was saying, I don't know if the Microsoft deal is good or bad. I don't think anybody really does. They can have their opinion. Until we actually see it in action, there's no telling. If it goes down, great. If it doesn't, okay too. Who cares? To me, I'm not pocketing any of the money. I'm literally just a guy who wants to see video games come to whatever system it is that I own at the time. If it's not, then I'll consider buying another system. But I'm not going to take that piece of plastic and make it the biggest part of who I am as a person, because that's just silly. And that's a trap that a lot of people fall into. So that's what's happened today. And kind of moving on from that, I guess. As you can see in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, I am now playing Fallout 76 again. I haven't played it since it initially launched. I think I played it for maybe 2 weeks and on the PS4 and just kind of stopped. I didn't find it that interesting. But what I'm finding is that a lot of people online are saying that the game has turned into something much different than it was. But again, I saw that about No Man's Sky too, and No Man's Sky is kind of not interesting to me. It's too lonely in that world. But Fallout 76 is one thing I've noticed, and I only put about, I'm going to say probably an hour and a half into it yesterday, just trying to plunk around and see how it's improved, how it's changed. It has changed a lot from when it first came out. But it's a very lonely lot of walking kind of thing, and I don't know if it was just all the distractions of everything that's going on with me getting a new kind of. I got a new computer, so I'm trying to do all that other stuff and transfer all the files over, and it's kind of a distraction there, and we're working in this godforsaken yellow room, and so I got that going. But literally, like with Fallout 76 and the loneliness of it, and kind of walking around and trudging around and going from place to place and trying to figure out exactly what it is I'm supposed to be doing, and I wasn't finding myself very interested in it, and I don't know how much of that was just simply distractions. But it does bring that to the point where, what is it? What is it like? Why is it? And how many more hours should I give to this game? And I think that's going to vary from person to person. Because I do like Fallout. The whole series, I love the games. Like, the first one I wasn't really into. Second one was alright. It was fine. I got hooked on 3 and just kind of going on through there. I'm one of the few people who probably really liked 4. Just depending on who you talk to. Almost everybody I know who I talked to just didn't really like 4. And then Fallout 76, kind of the big MMO type experience that they were aiming for. Not really exactly what I was looking for at that point. But it seems fine right off the bat. Ammo comes by a little bit too easy maybe initially. But we'll see as I give it more of a go and just kind of see what's happening with it. I don't know. Everybody will have to tell me what they think, because I haven't put enough time into it, and I don't think that I'm in the right frame of mind, which is kind of why I'm here tonight doing this, just kind of talking and kind of just blowing off some steam, getting some air out of my lungs. As it were. So, what do we have to look for in the next couple of weeks? The Mortal Kombat beta. I played that Mortal Kombat 1 beta this past weekend. It was fine. It's different. I saw somebody say that you have to sort of revert your thinking back to Mortal Kombat 10 to sort of land some of the combos and stuff like that. And I think that very well could be the case. I didn't actually see that until after I was done playing, and it's not something that I actually thought about while I was playing it. Super excited about Lee May. I actually liked the cameo feature a little bit more than what I thought I would. I'm not sure that I'm completely sold on it, but I didn't get enough time, given all the stuff that was going on around here with viewings and stuff like that. Just happened to be at the same weekend. I think it's gonna, once you learn how to do the combos and stuff like that and utilize those cameos in an effective way, it's gonna be a really layered type of fighting game that we haven't seen for a while. I would say maybe back to the Deception that had the multiple fighting stances and stuff like that. I think this is kind of an impact like that, to where using those cameos and figuring out how to chain the combos together is going to be a lot of fun. I love the fact that they include cameos in some of the special moves and the high impact moves. So you're going to be able to see different combinations, maybe add a little bit of replayability to that game. Which that's what it's all about, right? I mean, whenever you play a game, can you play it again and get the same amount of joy out of it? For me, Mortal Kombat is just something that I really like. I've always enjoyed it since the first one, because I'm old enough to say that. But it's a lot better, I think, than what I thought it was going to be. And obviously, it's still not a completely finished product. They're going to be making some changes before that. They just announced today Sindel, Shao Kahn, and I don't know who else. It's been a busy day for me. But I know they're adding some more players. Every couple of days, they're naming more players. So that'll be pretty fun. And actually, I'll dedicate an entire episode. We'll talk about Mortal Kombat 1 before it comes out. Obviously, Starfield on its way. I think we're 10 days out, something like that. 9 days, maybe. 10 days out from the Premier Edition or the Premium Edition early access stuff. Looking forward to that. That's probably going to lose me. I'm going to get nailed whenever it comes to the amount of games coming out in a short period of time. When you think about it. With Starfield coming out, and then immediately after that, it's going to be Mortal Kombat. And then I don't have a PS5, so I'm not really doing the whole Spider-Man thing. But when Spider-Man 2 comes out, I'm sure that I'll be watching some gameplay, trying to catch up on what exactly that game's all about and how it looks. I'm not going to be one of these pretentious assholes out there that says, oh, I have an Xbox, I have a PC, so I'm not playing that. That's garbage. Bullshit. That's such bullshit. Which I can't wait. I can't wait to actually have everything set up in my computer and everything else. Until where I can get some guests on and we can have actual conversation about this stuff, because some of the stuff would just be so fun to just rant on these people that are like that and just make fun of them with another person. Because right now you're just getting me. So, but either way, so that's what we got on the horizon here in the next 2 weeks for that, and then after that, I mean, we'll all be pretty busy playing games, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. So I'm going to start trying to write some articles as well on the One Up Club, which you see at the top of the screen there. Kind of have a hankering to write. It's been a long time since I've actually done any kind of writing or any kind of web work or anything like that. But having the new computer, having 2 computers side by side, is really kind of convenient for getting stuff done for productivity, trying to sort of organize things, figure it all out. And as I do that, as I get these awful yellow walls, make them disappear in some way, shape, or form. Everything will slide into place. In particular, I hate how the yellow, and you'll see, as I point at my screen that you can't see, I'll be like this right here, how the yellow meets the pink. That is not my favorite thing in the world. I can't stand it. But anyway, with all that stuff, with all the changes that are going on, with all the schedule changes that are happening in my life and around everywhere, we're going to try to make this happen more often, do at least 2 shows a week, sort of do a quick little half-hour show here, half-hour there, do some streaming. I'm planning on possibly doing some Fallout 76 streaming between now and then. I was going to do Gears of War, but I know for a fact that I just simply will not have the time. Especially once I got everything downloaded and they got the new computer and just haven't downloaded into the new computer yet, as I'm trying to transfer so many of the files, whether it's all of the stuff that I found from the old Morning Tune show to family videos from when my kids were born. It's so easy to get sucked into those, so it's taken me a lot longer to transfer everything from one into the next. But we're going to be making this happen. I've got a priority on my list of things to do to keep right beside the computer, which is transfer all of the One Up Club stuff to the computer. That's number 1 on the list, and I'm about probably 70% of the way done with that. It's just a lot of files to transfer to there. But thank you for spending the half hour here with me. I really appreciate it. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter or X or whatever the fuck it is these days, at TunesBrian, which I don't even have a graphic for that because I had to basically redo all my graphics, so that's why the screen's a little bit different. And it's definitely not final, but it is what it is. But you can find me there, iTunes Brian. You can find me. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got going right now on social media. So one of those two things. Or you can just go to oneup.club, email me at theoneupclub@gmail.com. Or if you see me in the street, just hit me up and say, hey, I watch your show, which would be very few people at this point, simply because of consistency. So, on behalf of myself, who is the only one actually here right now, because I don't have it set up to take other guests, I thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time right here on the One Up Club.